You're listening to episode 96 of the Fed and Fearless podcast. On today's episode, we're starting with part one of a two-part series on the 10 things that successful nutrition entrepreneurs do differently that sets them apart from struggling nutrition entrepreneurs. So stay tuned. Welcome to the Fed and Fearless podcast. I'm your host, Youre, a registered dietitian, nutrition business coach, and online entrepreneur with over 10 years of experience in online business. And I'm here to show you everything I've learned about creating a life and a business that nourishes you. On this podcast, we'll talk about the lifestyle habits, practical strategies, mindset shifts, and leaps of faith required to build a healthy body, a powerful mind, a strong spirit, and a successful business. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fed and Fearless podcast. I'm Youre, your host as always, and we actually have a solo episode today, which I know has been so long since we did one. I've just been really enjoying getting to interview all the amazing nutrition entrepreneurs and other healthcare providers and experts that have gotten the opportunity to come on the show and to chat with you all about their expertise and to really help make sure that you are living your most fed and fearless life. So I hope that you've been enjoying these interviews. My intention is to start getting back into some solo episodes here and there, and we actually have a two-parter for you today and next week. So super pumped to be able to come to you guys and talk about something that's really, really important for any of you out there who are entrepreneurs, online entrepreneurs, and especially if you are in the nutrition space. Now, before we get into the conversation today, I do want to let you know about an amazing free 3-part training series that I am putting on in August of 2021. So if you're listening and it's, August, it's not September or later, then this is something that you definitely want to participate in if you're somebody who wants to have a 6-figure nutrition business. So this training is all about how exactly to build a 6-figure nutrition business and make sure you're building one that nourishes both you and your clients. In this free live 3-part training series, I'm going to be breaking down the exact steps that you must take in your nutrition business in order to fill your roster with high-paying, ideal clients. And I'm going to show you how to do that without burning yourself out or without spending hours on social media, which if you're anything like me, you definitely don't want to be doing. Now, we're going to go over the exact steps that I've taken in my own nutrition business to bring in multiple 6 figures of revenue every year while still having a lifestyle of freedom. To date, I've taught over 100 other nutrition entrepreneurs just like you how to do this successfully using the steps I'm going to go over in this free training. Because let's be honest, you don't have time to keep DIYing your nutrition business. If you're like so many of my clients, you have a big vision for your impact and your income, and you're here to achieve your dreams of owning a successful online nutrition business. And in this free training, I'm going to hand you the roadmap to do just that. I'm going to show you how to build a nutrition business that creates the income and the impact that you desire without the overwhelm or wondering what the heck to focus on first. Here's what we're going to go over in this free online training series. First, we're going to cover the 3 core elements of a successful nutrition business. And if you're missing just one of these, your business is really not going to get off the ground or go very far. We'll also be talking about 5 big mistakes that so many nutrition entrepreneurs are making when they're trying to grow an online business. And I'll give you the exact steps of what to do instead. You'll also hear why I don't teach my students to use Instagram to grow their business. I know that's a really common belief that the only way to grow your business is through Instagram, and I can tell you right now, it's not true. I'm also going to give you my entire 6-step strategy for building a nutrition business the right way, so you can grow your income and your impact more quickly and easily than ever before. And you're also going to get a free nutrition business audit to check on your business's health and to make the necessary changes to optimize it. Now, you might be wondering who this training is for. This training is for new nutrition business owners who want to build their businesses the right way. It's also for established business owners who want more paying clients, so that way you can reach 6 figures of revenue and beyond. Many of my clients are making multiple 6 figures and even heading towards $1 million a year in revenue. It's wild. It can also be for you if you're an advanced nutrition entrepreneur who's ready to scale your business from one-to-one to one-to-many. If you want to get out of that time for dollars trap, then this is going to be exactly the way to do it. And it's really for anyone who wants to have a nutrition business that impacts others while bringing you the income you deserve. Now, our first session is going to be going live on Thursday, August 19th, 2021. So be sure to register now so you can join us live and get all the juicy goodness that I'm going to share. Go to lauraschoenfeld.com/live, that's LIVE, to register. And once you do, you'll get all the specific details about how to join our live sessions, and you'll also get our companion workbook to download instantly. This training is going to be so awesome, and I really hope to see you there. Go to lauraschoenfeld.com/live, and you can register today. All right, so let's get into the content for today. On today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 things that successful nutrition entrepreneurs do differently. Now, this is stuff that I have noticed not only in my own career that's helped me become successful, but it's also the stuff that I see my 6 and multi-6 and even running towards 7-figure nutrition entrepreneurs doing. So we're going to go through those 5 things, and then we actually have a part 2 for you next week that's going to cover the other 5. So we have 10 total things that successful entrepreneurs do that perhaps if you're someone who's struggling with your nutrition business, you may not be doing yet. All right, so the first thing that successful nutritionists do is that they know that action creates clarity and not the other way around. Most struggling nutrition entrepreneurs think that they need to have perfect clarity before they take action in their business. But that way of thinking is actually what's keeping them stuck. And if you're spending all your time trying to make things perfect before you put them out into the world, this could be costing you months of time and money. And maybe you're already experiencing that now. The truth is that successful nutrition entrepreneurs have learned how to balance using a proven plan with taking messy action. It's not that they don't have a plan whatsoever, it's just that they don't expect to have everything perfectly figured out before they actually do the work. And that's because they know that it's in that action that they'll really know whether or not their plan is working for them. And the truth is, you can have the best plan ever, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to require some finessing for it to actually have the result you want it to have. So that's why taking action before you're ready is so important. Now, if you're like so many nutritionists and dietitians that I work with running their own online business, I know that you care about helping others and doing your best work so that people get great results. But the dark side of caring too much about doing your best work is that you can end up holding your work back from the world because you don't feel like it's good enough yet. Truly, though, the only way to know for sure if something is good enough or even the best possible that you can create is to test it. And that's where action taking comes into play. This is where you actually put your work out into the world, you give it to the people that need it, and you see how it works. You see how it resonates. You see what kind of impact it has on their life. So if you're waiting until something is perfect before you put it out into the world, whether that's an offer to work with you, if it's a new group program that you want to launch, or even a piece of free content that you're putting out, whether that's a blog post or a podcast interview or a post on social media, just know that if you're waiting for it to be perfect, you're going to be waiting forever because it will never be perfect. And honestly, this is the mindset that I teach my clients inside of my Nutrition Business Accelerator coaching program. Yes, we give them a plan. We actually have a very clear step-by-step action plan for them to follow that takes them through the process of creating the foundations of their online business. So having that plan gives them some guardrails to make sure that they're going in the right direction, but they know that it's going to be up to them to take that messy and imperfect action on that plan if they want to see results. And my most successful clients are the ones that are committed to doing that, even when it's hard, even when it's scary, and even when they actually end up failing and it doesn't work the way that they were hoping to work. And that's because these successful nutritionists know that the only way for them to reach their goals of becoming financially successful and having the impact that they want to have is by taking that imperfect and messy action. So if you get nothing else out of this episode today, just know that taking action before you're ready is the way that people become successful in online business, especially in an online nutrition business. All right, so the second thing that successful nutritionists do is that they get crystal clear about who they want to help, and they get super comfortable saying no when a potential client isn't aligned. How many of you have taken a client before that your gut said wouldn't be a good fit, but you felt like you needed the money, and so you went against your better judgment and you signed up the person to work with you? I've been there before, probably several times at this point. After running a business for 8 years, it's something that we all do. But the vast majority of times that I ever said yes to someone that I had that gut feeling that, I don't know if this is going to be a great fit. I don't know if I can definitely help them. So many times I did that, I ended up regretting it later for a variety of reasons. Either it wasn't a good personality fit, or the person just had a case that I wasn't really capable of solving for them. And it wasn't something that I was feeling super confident about when we started working together in the first place. And I'm the kind of person that I want to make sure that everybody that I work with is somebody that I can help. And it can be really hard to turn people away when they're struggling with their health, but it is something where so many times, especially if I didn't give them a little bit of a warning in the beginning that, hey, you have a pretty complicated case. I'm not sure if I can help you. If I didn't tell them that and I ended up saying yes to working with them, a lot of times I ended up regretting it because I felt bad that I had said yes when I really wasn't actually very confident that I could help them. This was honestly one of the biggest mistakes I was making as a young nutrition entrepreneur. I say young, it's not like I was that young. I was in my mid-20s, but when I first started my business, it was very common for me to say yes to anybody that would pay me. And you might feel the same way, that it's tempting to take the money when somebody's offering it to you to work with you. But there's a few costs that you need to be thinking about when you're saying yes to clients that are not aligned. There's a big energetic cost in the future if that person ends up taking more of your time and attention than you anticipated. Now, this doesn't only apply to clients that maybe aren't a personality fit, because the person could be actually a great personality fit. But if you have to create a brand new strategy for helping them because they're not even remotely in your niche, that's a lot of extra time and energy that you're spending that isn't allowing you to systematize and streamline your business. So if you're constantly taking on clients that you're not really used to helping, it's going to be so much more time intensive than if you're helping the same kind of clients on a regular basis. So that's how it's going to harm you from an energetic perspective, even if the person is an amazing personality fit. Now, if we end up saying yes to a client who turns out to be a bad fit from a personality perspective, which I certainly have done in the past, it's not as common for me to do that anymore, especially not anymore. But even when I first started, I was a little bit better at saying no when I thought somebody was going to be a really bad personality fit. But when I was first getting started, I would literally say yes to anybody that was offering to pay me, even if in my gut I was like, ooh, I don't know how this is going to go. And there was a couple of times where it really was not a good experience for me. And sometimes I actually had to give a refund. Like, I offered them a refund. I didn't get asked for a refund, but I offered them a refund because I realized how bad of a fit it was and how unhappy I was working with that client. And not only do I not deserve to dread those calls, but I knew that my clients didn't deserve to work with someone who was dreading their calls. So if you've ever worked with someone who was a really bad fit from a personality perspective and it was just a ton of clashing, you guys didn't see eye to eye, you didn't have the same values, you may have had that experience as well where you were dreading showing up for those calls. And that's not the kind of business, I know I don't want to build that kind of business, and I'm guessing you don't either. And so you have to get comfortable with saying no when a client isn't aligned. I know it can be scary, and it really is going to get into some money mindset stuff if you are taking on clients that are not good fits because you're afraid you're not going to get the money. This is one thing we're going to talk about in my free training on how to build a six-figure business the right way, one that nourishes you and your clients. Because if you are going at it where you're afraid about where's the next client going to come from, or you're not charging enough to really make ends meet without getting a lot of clients, then you're going to be in trouble. So this is something that I hope that all of you will walk away from this conversation having the confidence to say no when you feel like a potential client is not aligned. Okay, so our third strategy that successful nutritionists use is that they're obsessed with getting the best results possible for their clients and doing so while keeping the client in the driver's seat. So let me explain what I mean by that. I find that struggling nutritionists, ones that really feel stressed by their work, don't feel confident that they're helping people, and really struggle with boundaries, are the ones that believe their clients' results are their responsibility. Let me say that again. Struggling nutritionists believe that their clients' results are their responsibility. Now, this might sound strange because, especially if you know me, you know that I am super focused on providing great service, and I always want to make sure that my clients are getting incredible results as much as I can potentially affect that. But the fact is that even in my own business, like for example, in my Nutrition Business Accelerator, I can provide the same kind of support, the same kind of coaching, the same kind of content, the same strategy, the same plan, all the same great stuff that we give in the NBA. And not every single client is going to have the same outcome. Now, we stand by our program and we know that we have created the best business coaching program out there for nutrition business owners. But again, I know that there is going to be always a small number of people that don't do the work for whatever reason. They get busy, they get stressed out, they just don't trust themselves, they don't believe in themselves, and they give up on themselves. And hopefully that's not you. Most of my clients are not like that. Most of my clients are people who are committed and, even when things get hard, they've committed to doing the work and they're willing to work through challenges. But, there is a small percentage that don't end up with a six-figure nutrition business. And the reason for that is because everybody who's going through that program is responsible for their own results. So that's something that we are very clear about when we have people apply for the program, as well as when we have them first starting the program, is that they are taking responsibility for the things that they have responsibility for, which ultimately is doing the work and being willing to take the risks, do the actions, go back and fix things when they didn't work, and really be committed to getting the result. And then our responsibility is to provide the best service possible, to show up the way that we promised to show up, to do whatever we can to make our program and our coaching services the best in the market. But ultimately, we still cannot force somebody to get results. The best way I've ever heard this described is, imagine if you were going to a personal trainer and you showed up and you were like, you know what, I'm not going to do the workout today. Can you do it for me? Can you do the, the push-ups and the squats and all of that for me? My trainer could do the entire workout perfectly, and yet I would not get any results from that. My muscles would not change. There would be absolutely no benefit to me, even though my coach had worked his butt off to do the workout, create the workout, and then do it, and was doing it for me. I'm still not going to get the results. So you can see very clearly in that example, if I show up and I don't do the work, or if I do some of the work, I'm kind of phoning it in, I'm not going to get the same results, even if the program that my coach put together and the way that he coaches is the best in the world. So we have to remember that as nutrition professionals as well. Yes, I'm obsessed with getting the best results possible for my clients, and I'm guessing that you're committed to that as well. But as much as I wish we could guarantee outcomes for our clients, it's not possible. And that's because, first of all, your client has to do the work and consistently take the actions that you suggest that they take. And if we're honest with ourselves, how many of us perfectly follow the recommendations of our coaches and mentors? I pay multiple tens of thousands of dollars a year for coaching and mentors in the business space. And, in anything that I want to learn, like I said, I work with a trainer, so I'm paying, him a decent amount of money to work with him. And that doesn't mean I listen to everything they say. I'm sure if Matt's listening, my fitness trainer, he would be able to tell you that I don't always do what he says to do. He gives me recommendations all the time and I don't always do them. And yes, I'm sure if I did them, I would get better results. But I'm human, just like our clients are human. And we're not always going to be able to perfectly implement everything that we're learning. So because we're not perfect, we're not going to get perfect results. And the person who's coaching and training us, yes, it's their responsibility to show up and provide a great service. And the coaches that I work with are amazing. They all do that. But at the end of the day, I am still responsible for doing the work that they tell me to do. And sometimes I don't. And I'm sure you have that same experience as well. We're all human. Nobody does it perfectly. So when you're working with clients, your only responsibility is to show up and serve your client in the best way possible. Now, part of that is being mildly obsessed with refining your skills and improving your client results process. That might mean that you're learning new skills like how to incorporate lab tests, or you're getting trained on how to use supplements, or you're improving your coaching and counseling skills. These are all ways that you can improve the way that you serve your clients. And for me, I never stop that process. I am always obsessed with getting better and better and better any way that I can when it comes to the way that I work with my clients, whether I am serving them in a nutrition side of the equation or if I'm working with a business coaching client. So either way, I was always spending a ton of time learning and diving into the things that were going to help me become the best provider and coach possible. So if you're obsessed with refining your skills and you're always looking on how to improve the way that you work with clients, that's part of your responsibility to be able to serve your client in the best way possible. Another part of that is being crystal clear from the beginning what your services include and don't include, and make sure that you're maintaining appropriate boundaries with clients. This is one of the reasons why I recommend to all my clients in the NBA and beyond that they include very clear contracts when somebody is signing up to work with them, whether that's at a one-on-one level or even in a group coaching level. So you really want to lay out very clearly what you're promising, because that means you can show up with integrity and actually deliver what you're promising. And if a client starts to overstep and start asking you for things that you didn't promise, or starts being, upset that they're not getting something that you had never promised, it's really easy to go back to that contract and say, hey, remember, this is what we agreed to. And you get to create whatever kind of contract you want to create because it's your business. So like I said, your clients are the ones ultimately responsible for their results. You are not responsible for the results. What you're responsible for is to guide them and coach them in the best way that you possibly can, and to always be committed to doing whatever you can possibly do to serve them at the best level. Sometimes that means setting boundaries and, demonstrating how to respect yourself, which I know a lot of clients actually need to see you respecting yourself to be able to respect themselves. So it doesn't mean bending over backwards. It doesn't mean, answering phone calls at 1:00 in the morning. It just means serving them in the best way possible that's appropriate and aligned with what you promised. So let your client stay in the driver's seat. Let them own the responsibility for the results and doing the work. And all you need to do is commit to showing up as the best co-pilot possible and do everything you can to guide them in the best way. All right, so this one, number 4, is one of my favorites. It's kind of one that if people know of me in the last several years. I've been online for about 10 years now, which is kind of nuts to think about. Running my business for about 7 to 8 of those years, working with Chris Kresser and his business since 2012, so about 9 years. And this is something that I really think helped my career take off even before online nutrition businesses were really very popular. So what successful nutritionists do is that they double down on what makes them unique rather than imitating others in their field, especially and even when they catch haters and criticizers for the beliefs that they're sharing. So what's the opposite of that? What's the opposite of committing to standing out and doubling down on what makes you unique? That's what struggling nutritionists do. And that is that they imitate others who are successful with the hope that they'll be successful that way too. Now, this might sound familiar because one source of frustration that I've heard from a lot of nutrition entrepreneurs who are considering joining my Nutrition Business Accelerator program is that they don't want to look like a cookie cutter version of every other dietitian or nutritionist out there, which honestly, I think is really smart to be thinking like that. And I think the reason why this is a common fear is because there are a few business coaching programs out there for nutritionists and dietitians that kind of leave everyone's stuff looking the same. If you know, like there's ways that you can be seeing other nutritionists post on social media or the way that they're approaching their business. And it's all like, you don't even know whose is whose because it all looks the same. And I don't believe in that strategy. I think it's actually really short-sighted to be imitating other people in that way, because the more similar you look to other nutritionists in your field, and especially in your niche, the more you're going to blend in, and the harder it is for potential customers to really see you as the one that they want to work with. And that is not a good thing. Your goal should be to stand out and to really put yourself apart from the rest of the people in your field. Now, there are a few different types of ways to stand out. We go into a lot of detail on that in the Nutrition Business Accelerator program because that's one of my favorite things to do is to help nutritionists really get clear on what makes them different. But one of my favorite ways to stand out is by being really clear about your core values and infusing them into your content and messaging. Your core values could be pretty polarizing. I know I've been there before, but that's actually a good thing because the people who align with your values are actually going to be your best clients and customers, and they're even going to get the best results. I have definitely seen this not only in my nutrition business, especially when I started going down the faith-based route and started talking more to Christians and incorporating faith principles into the work I was doing. That always helped me get the best results for the people I was working with. And I'm not saying that you couldn't get great results without that. It's just for me, being able to incorporate that part of my core values and being able to align with other people's core values in that way just really enhanced the experience and helped them get even better results than if we were just focusing on nutrition and lifestyle and all of that stuff. So being able to get clear on your core values, share them publicly, and really infuse them into the work that you do with your business is the best way to stand out. Another way to stand out is to take a stand on an industry norm that you disagree with. This was another thing that really, really benefited my business, especially when I was first getting started. I significantly grew my audience and started getting a ton of new clients when I started speaking out about the dangers of low-carb paleo diets for women. Some of you listening right now might actually know me because of that kind of content. That was something that really exploded for me when I first started talking about it. I feel like that was probably at least 5 years ago at this point. And because I was one of the first people going down that route and bringing up that issue, it was something that caught a lot of people's attention. Now, I definitely got some flack and caught some haters from it, as is the case whenever you do something that's more polarizing and more taking a stand, drawing a line in the sand. You're going to get people that disagree with you. That's just the way it is. But the people who resonated with the message and agreed with me and felt like what I was saying was speaking to their needs, they ended up being the best clients. Between them and my Christian clients, and sometimes a lot of them were actually pretty significant overlap, they were always the easiest to work with. I always was able to get the best results for them. And it was something where I just really felt a lot of joy working with them, which honestly, a combination of getting great results for your clients and enjoying the work that you do is probably, in my mind, beyond the finances, the best part of running an online business. Now, there are two things that can stand in the way of being able to stand out and to really get clear on your core values and about the way that you perceive the industry that you're in. And that is not trusting in your own perspective or being afraid of criticism. So if you don't trust in your own perspective and you're like, I'm not really sure about this, I feel like people are going to disagree with me, I don't want to be wrong, that's going to prevent you from really standing out and taking a stand on what is important to you. And then the fear of the criticism actually brings me to my next point. And that's the fifth thing we're going to talk about today, which is how successful nutritionists care more about helping their ideal clients than proving themselves to their peers. So they are more focused on serving over proving, whereas struggling nutritionists are constantly worrying about what other nutritionists will think about their stuff. Does that sound like you? Because if you're really honest with yourself, how often are you afraid of criticism from the general public? I mean, yes, you can get some haters and some random comments on your Instagram or your Facebook ads, and it's just people that you're like, this isn't for them anyway, and it's really easy to shrug it off, at least for me. Maybe not for you, but at least for me, people that are just random and criticizing what I'm saying, it's like, I don't really care because it's not for them. But there is this weird sense of fear that I know a lot of my clients have about saying things that other nutrition professionals disagree with, or saying something that another dietitian is going to call them out about. And it's honestly, it doesn't really matter what niche you're in. I've seen this happen in a niche where people are helping others lose weight. And then I've seen it in a niche where somebody is fully on board with the health at every size, intuitive eating stuff. Honestly, that community tends to be one of the most aggressive, sadly. This has been my personal experience. You can let me know if you feel differently, but I have some clients in the intuitive eating space that just feel like that community can be so toxic because people are always calling each other out, saying that you're wrong, you can't have a different opinion. If you would, disagree with any principle, you're just like an idiot. And so it's really intense. And a lot of my clients realize that one of the things that holds them back is that fear of being criticized by other healthcare professionals. Now, I don't know why this is the case, but you can tell me if you agree with this. Feel free to DM me on Instagram. I'd love to continue the conversation. But something I've noticed, especially in the last several years, is that dietitians especially can be very aggressive, not only towards other nutritionists whom they consider to be unqualified, which that's a whole nother ball of wax that I'm not going to get into right now, but they can even be especially aggressive towards dietitians that they disagree with. It doesn't matter if you're qualified. If you have a dietetics degree, most dietitians would say are qualified, although I will say there's some dietitians out there who even say you're not qualified yet if you don't have extra credentials, extra training, extra certifications. It gets nuts, honestly. So I don't really know why this is the case. I know this could sound, speaking of being a little controversial and drawing a line in the sand, I do think it's possible that this is because dietetics and nutrition in general is a white female-dominated field. And I do think that those of us who are white women, there is some level of social conditioning for us to see each other as competition. Hopefully we can get beyond that. And that's something that, I've done a lot of work to move beyond that fear of other women judging me, criticizing me, not liking me. It's been, again, a whole nother podcast episode on that I could probably do. So we're not going to get into a ton of details on that. But if you know what I'm saying, where it's like this fear that you're going to get, verbally attacked or you're going to get thrown out of the group, there's just that cattiness and that judgment that comes from our peers in a lot of cases. It is just ridiculous. And so, first of all, I just want to affirm you that if you've been feeling that way, that, if you're a dietitian and other dietitians are kind of freaking you out because they're so aggressive, or if you're a nutritionist of a different type of education and you feel like there's a lot of dietitians out there that don't believe you deserve to be a nutritionist or to call yourself an expert, I just want to say I understand, I feel you. I can honestly say that a big part of my early success as a nutritionist came from being willing to go against what my RD peers were saying and my willingness to ruffle feathers. I did not have a lot of friends in grad school because the vast majority of the women in my program, we had one man, but mostly women. The other women in my program just strongly disagreed with my perspective on nutrition. And to be fair, I was a little bit off on a, rabbit trail with paleo and all of that back then. So, it was probably good for me to have some pushback on it. But all of that said, there's still stuff that I believe that is very much not in alignment with what the conventional dietetics world teaches. And I was always okay going against that because my main priority was always that I was helping people in the best way possible. And I accepted the fact that many of my beliefs about nutrition were going to rub other dietitians the wrong way. But I felt it was worth it to know that I was doing the best job possible, that I was willing to look at the research, that I was willing to listen to people's personal experiences and not say, well, that's not possible because that's not what the science says. I was always wanting to really find the truth. I'm a big truth seeker, and it's something where, I'm not going to just be accepting what the status quo is just because everybody's believing it, right? So my desire is always to find the truth. I always want to do the best job possible, even when it might put my industry reputation at stake. And that was something that I was always just committed to. And it's something that I honestly feel actually helped my career as an online entrepreneur flourish because I wasn't just towing the line and falling in line with everybody and saying the exact same things that all the other dietitians were saying. So I really believe that this willingness to stand up for my beliefs about what my ideal clients really needed for their health, whether it was, going against the low-fat guidelines of the USDA or even starting to recommend higher carb intakes where the low-carb paleo world was going to disagree with that. I was just willing to stand up for my beliefs about what my clients really needed for their health to thrive. And I truly believe that is what allowed me to grow my business the fastest and to get the right clients, to work with the people that I was really called to help. And I didn't let myself get caught up in worrying about what other dietitians were going to think of me. So all of that to say, I would strongly encourage you to have the same philosophy, because I do think this is something that successful nutritionists are really focused on. They're not worried about proving themselves to their peers. They're not worried about getting criticized by other nutritionists or dietitians or doctors or other healthcare professionals. I have a client who is amazing, gets great results for her clients, is super well educated, constantly researching, just a brilliant person. And she got attacked by a bunch of doctors on one of her Instagram posts that she had been talking about lab values to look for to help indicate PCOS symptoms or PCOS diagnosis. They were angry that she was sharing stuff that they didn't agree with, and she just got this onslaught. And so, not that I think that's going to happen that often. It's not, every day that you get attacked by a group of Instagram doctors, but just know that that is something that can happen. And you have to just decide that it's okay and that you're willing to deal with it if it comes up, because you care about your clients so much. You care about the people who you are called to impact, and you don't care if other professionals are going to come criticize you. Now, obviously, there's a big difference between worrying about criticism versus doing things outside of your scope, or, taking really big risks and putting clients' health at actual risk. We're not talking about that, but we are talking about staying true to your values, staying true to your beliefs, and not tiptoeing around the potential of another dietitian or nutritionist criticizing you because they don't agree with you. All right, so those were the first 5 things that successful nutrition entrepreneurs do differently. And I want to do a quick recap. So successful nutritionists know that the action that they're taking is what creates clarity, not the other way around. Successful nutritionists are clear about who they want to help and who they're best at helping, and they get comfortable saying no when a potential client is not aligned. Number 3 is that they are obsessed with getting the best results possible for their clients while keeping the client in the driver's seat and letting them take responsibility for their results. Number 4 is that they double down on what makes them unique rather than imitating others, even if they're getting some haters for those beliefs. And number 5 is that they care more about helping their ideal clients than proving themselves to their peers. So those are our first 5. And like I said, next episode, we will be going through the other 5. So definitely stay tuned for that one. In the meantime, I strongly encourage you to come register for our 3-part training series on how to build a 6-figure nutrition business that nourishes both you and your clients. We're starting that soon from the date that this podcast comes out. If it is after August 19th, then we may have some other trainings that are going live. If it's after August altogether, 2021, then, the training's over at that point. But hopefully you're catching this when the episode comes live the week of August 19th or Thursday, August 19th. And so I'm super pumped about this. This is all of my best stuff. And we used to try to squeeze this into a really short 2-hour-ish training. And I just knew that there was so much more I could share. So that's why I decided to expand it out into a 3-part training series. So it's 3 full sessions. You can watch the replay if you can't attend live, but I strongly encourage you to come live because that'll allow you to ask questions, participate, and really just enhance your learning. All right, well, thank you so much for hanging out with me for the last 45 minutes or so. I would love to connect with you on Instagram, so just let me know what about this episode resonated the most with you. Was there one of these 5 or maybe all of them that you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely something that I need help with or I need to work on? So I just love connecting with you guys over on Instagram in the DMs. So feel free to send me a message and I can't wait to chat with you. And until next time, I am so glad to have you as a listener on the Fed and Fearless podcast. I will see you here next week on our next episode where we will finish up with the other 5 of the 10 things that successful nutrition entrepreneurs do. I'll see you there. Are you a dietitian or nutritionist business owner that wants to create an online business that attracts, converts, and serves your dream clients? Then keep listening, because I have a special opportunity that will help you create the profitable, joy-filled nutrition business that you always wanted. In my signature group coaching program, the Nutrition Business Accelerator, you'll learn how to start, grow, and scale your online nutrition business to 6 figures and beyond, so you can experience the financial and time freedom that you desire. Inside the program, you'll learn how to attract high-paying clients who are excited to work with you and willing to pay you the rates you deserve. You'll get training on how to effectively sell your services in a way that feels authentic and converts prospects into paying clients without feeling pushy or salesy. And you'll get step-by-step instructions on how to create programs and services that provide transformative results, leading to glowing testimonials and referrals from your current clients, so you can have the greater impact that you desire in the world around you. Inside the program, you'll get mentorship and guidance from me, a compassionate coach who's built her own multi-6-figure online nutrition business. So that way you never have to feel stuck in your business again. I created this program to help struggling dietitian and nutrition entrepreneurs get clarity on who they serve, how they serve them, and how they can stand out in a crowded market so they can more easily attract dream high-paying clients into their online nutrition business. If this sounds like something you're interested in, go to lauraschoenfeldrd.com/NBA to learn more about the program and get on the wait list. That's lauraschoenfeldrd.com/NBA, which is short for Nutrition Business Accelerator. Doors are opening soon, and you don't want to miss out on this one-of-a-kind business coaching opportunity. Let's accelerate your nutrition business together. I'll see you in the program.